Hello, and welcome back. Tonight, we are going to talk about pleasure. Not the loud, frantic, fleeting pleasure that our modern world so often promises, but a quieter, deeper, more sustainable kind. A kind of pleasure that leads not to exhaustion, but to a profound and lasting state of peace. We are often taught that a happy life is an extraordinary one, filled with grand achievements, luxurious possessions, and spectacular experiences. We chase these things, believing that happiness is a prize to be won. But this chase can leave us feeling breathless and perpetually dissatisfied, always reaching for the next, more intense thrill. Before we explore a gentler, more joyful path, please take a moment to like and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy these videos and find value in these explorations. And do share in the comments, where does this idea resonate with you in your own life? It's incredibly insightful to hear the perspectives from all walks of life. Now, let us proceed. I invite you to step out of the loud, demanding marketplace of the world and into a quiet, sunlit garden, a place of friendship, simple truths, and deep tranquility. Let us visit the garden of the philosopher Epicurus and learn his recipe for a truly happy life. When we hear the word Epicurean today, we think of a life of decadent luxury. We imagine lavish feasts, expensive wines, a relentless pursuit of intense sensory pleasure. But the man for whom this idea is named, Epicurus, lived a life that was the very opposite. Let us travel back to ancient Athens, around the year 300 BC. Outside the city walls, Epicurus bought a property. It was not a grand academy, but a simple house with a garden. It came to be known simply as the Garden, and here he founded his school. But it was a school like no other. It was more of a quiet commune of friends, and radical for its time, it was open to everyone, including women and even slaves. The life they lived in the garden was famously simple. They drank water, not fine wine. Their meals consisted mostly of bread, vegetables, and olives. A special treat, for which Epicurus would write to a friend in excitement, was a small pot of cheese. This was not a place of wild indulgence. It was a sanctuary, a place to withdraw from the noise and anxiety of the city and to cultivate a life of deep, abiding tranquility. Epicurus was not a teacher of hedonism. He was a physician of the soul, and he believed that the sickness that plagued humanity was not a lack of pleasure, but a surplus of fear and anxiety. His entire philosophy was designed as a cure. Epicurus believed that to be happy, we must first be free from mental disturbance. He identified two main fears that trouble the human mind more than any other: the fear of divine punishment and the fear of our own death. First, the fear of the gods. In his time, people believed in powerful, often vengeful gods who meddled in human affairs, demanding sacrifice and punishing mortals for their transgressions. This created a constant low-level anxiety. Epicurus offered a simple, liberating alternative. He argued that if gods exist, their very nature must be one of perfect bliss and tranquility, and a truly blissful being could not be troubled with anger, jealousy, or the petty affairs of humanity. They would be too busy enjoying their own perfection. Therefore, he concluded, we have nothing to fear from them. This idea was a profound psychological release. It meant you could live your life without the fear of supernatural wrath. Second, and even more profoundly, he offered a cure for the fear of death. This is perhaps the greatest anxiety of all. Epicurus's logic is a masterpiece of tranquil clarity. He wrote, "Death is nothing to us, for when we exist, death is not yet present. and when death is present, we no longer exist. Let that sink in. You, the conscious being who is listening to my voice, will never have the experience of being dead. The state of death and the state of your consciousness are mutually exclusive. They can never meet. Therefore, to fear an experience you can never have is an unnecessary torment. For Epicurus, the goal was not to live forever, but to live well now. By removing the two greatest sources of anxiety, fear of the gods and fear of death, he cleared the ground so that a happy, tranquil life could finally take root. With fear removed, what then do we need to be happy? Epicurus's recipe is beautifully simple. The goal is a state he called ataraxia, a state of serene, untroubled calm. And the ingredients are surprisingly easy to obtain. The first and most important ingredient was friendship. He wrote, "Of all the things which wisdom provides to make life entirely happy, much the greatest is the possession of friendship." For Epicurus, true friends provide a sense of safety, trust, and shared joy that no material possession can ever match. Life in the garden was a life lived among trusted companions. The second ingredient was freedom and self-sufficiency. This meant living simply and cultivating the ability to be content with little. If your happiness depends on luxuries, you are a slave to fortune. But if you can be perfectly happy with bread, water, and good company, you are free. No one can take your happiness away from you. This is not about ascetic punishment. It is about strategic, joyful independence. The third ingredient was an analyzed life. For Epicurus, philosophy was not an abstract game. It was essential medicine for the soul. The practice of thinking clearly and rationally about our desires, our fears, and our beliefs is what allows us to calm our minds and achieve tranquility. And this leads to his famous view on pleasure. He believed we should seek pleasure, but wisely. He taught that the most lasting pleasures are the simplest. He called them natural and necessary pleasures, the pleasure of satisfying hunger with a simple meal, the pleasure of quenching thirst, the pleasure of friendship, the pleasure of a mind at peace. These are the pleasures that restore us to a state of natural contentment. The frantic chase for luxury, fame, or power he saw as vain and empty desires that only create more anxiety than they relieve. So, as you lie here now, in the quiet of your own space, let us tend to your own inner garden. First, bring to mind the simple pleasures that are already present in your life. The feeling of clean sheets, the taste of a cool drink of water, the sound of rain outside your window, the warmth of a blanket. Let yourself feel a deep sense of gratitude for these simple, beautiful things that are so easily available. Realize that in these small moments, you have everything you truly need to be content. Next, think of your friendships. Bring to mind the face of a true friend. Feel the warmth and safety that this connection brings to your life. Acknowledge this as the immense treasure it is, the greatest ingredient for a happy life, according to Epicurus. Let gratitude for this person or these people fill your heart. Now, gently consider a desire that has been causing you stress. A desire for something you don't have. A new gadget, a different job, a certain recognition. Without judgment, just ask yourself, is this desire truly necessary for my peace? Or is the wanting of it the very thing that is disturbing my peace? You do not need to get rid of the desire, just see it for what it is, a passing cloud. The peace Epicurus spoke of is not something you have to go out and find. It is your natural state. It is the tranquility that is waiting for you underneath the noise of fear and unnecessary desire. As you drift towards sleep, Imagine your mind as a beautiful, quiet garden. Let go of the anxieties about the world outside its walls. Let go of the frantic chase for more. Simply rest here, in this safe and simple space. You have enough. You are enough. Find your joy in this profound simplicity, and in this joy, find your deepest rest.